Why, hello there, fellow chemists. Rodamon here. Thank you for tuning in to Stationeers. Episode 5, First Phase of Atmospherics. For the sake of getting water filtration going sooner, I probably won't approach 100 kPa because it's not necessary with the current ice melt, because the gas mix within the base is oxygenated, highly oxygenated, so it can be thin, but because it's so oxygenated, it's very breathable. So I'm gonna work on producing water before I bother with the atmo mix of the base. I just want like a base to have an atmo before that. So this is maybe enough. Oh, here's some more. Some of this I will want to hold on to for atmo mix purposes too. I don't want to melt all my ice. That's good enough. I'll expose that so I know it's there later. And I should live this way? I think. I hope. Once I'm out of the caldera, I should be able to see the base. Thought I lived at 320. Yep, yeah, there it is. About 350 because I moved around a bit. At least I'm not lost. Yes, when heat goes up, pressure goes up. Absolutely. So, the game measures gases in moles, and when you heat up a mole of oxygen, it expands. So it uses, it calculates that, in other words. Oh, I thought the sun was coming up. All right. It is 0 degrees in here, so the ice might not melt on its own. No, it's still melting. But what I can do here is make a wall heater. Wrong printer. To bring the temperature up a little bit. So that is iron, copper, gold. I don't even think I have iron, but I have gold and copper. So I'm going to go get some iron. We're up to 32 kPa. Yeah, I'm missing 1 iron. Okay. And somehow the ice is still melting. We're like sitting at 0 Fahrenheit, but it's like just enough that it's keeping it warmer. And if you're wondering, like, everything produces heat, so like the APC being in here technically produces heat, and the printers produce heat. Like, everything produces heat. So having these things inside was kind of by design, so that it could like produce some passive heat as a byproduct of production and help us to heat our base. Because outside is a vacuum, it's really easy to radiate heat to vacuum in this game. IRL, that's a little different, but in-game, yeah, you can radiate heat to vacuum, no problem. Alright, let's go ahead and smelt the iron that we have so that I can actually start doing stuff again. But yeah, all the oxide melted, and we're up to 56 kPa. So that's enough air for the base, I think. Did it close? Yeah, it's closed. Come on. And there's the hitbox. Okie dokie. There's my iron. Heading back inside. I'm going to cancel pressurization. And, get that wall heater to raise the ambient temperature in here just a little bit. Not strictly necessary, but kind of a nice to have. Now, just like in real life, heating is a lot easier to manage than cooling. While I'm in the base here... Oh, you know what? Before I do that, let's go ahead and drag... let's make another locker inside, and then move our food and water inside. Because I'm never going to drink or eat outside, so I don't really need my, my food and water outdoors, because that is not where it should be. So I'll get a locker in here... So I can put stuff away. The empty filters can go outside, but the my food and water should come inside just for ease. Because of that warning, because I saw that my food and water was critically low. All right. Time to go fetch that. So there is food and water over here in the lander. Oh, that's a fresh CO2 filter? Yeah, let's just hot swap it. The data disk I might want inside as well with me. No integrated circuits means no integrated circuits. I'm not sure how to, like, specify that any further. Means no IC. Logic's fine. No circuits, though. No IC circuits. Okay, so I got my food and water. Let's go back inside and fill up our needs. It's 1 degree warmer in here. Sweet. Woo! Stripping! Look at me! Well, actually, I'm not naked yet. Look at me! I'm naked! Okay, that's enough of that. I like to keep the backpack on so I can actually see what the hell I'm doing. So, water bottle. This is the last water bottle in that package. And, let's see as well. Yeah, 2 degrees Celsius. It's t-shirt weather. Exactly. So I've got, like, 4.5 water bottles left. So water is kind of a very imminently important thing to manage. Which is why it's my next task. The other thing you could do when you're inside is, like, open up your helmet and then just, like, turn off your suit. So it's not suiting, so you're just breathing base air. And then lower your helmet, turn on your suit when you go outside. 2 degrees Celsius, that's going to have to be good enough. So, next project. Make water. By setting up Atmo tanks. So, I'm going to keep the game paused so I can explain a little bit what I'm doing before I start. There is, in this game, an item called an ice crusher. Ice crushers turn the ice into, generally, gases. Unless, of course, it's like water ice. So, I'm going to make an ice crusher to be able to crush up oxide and volatiles. Oxide being mostly oxygen, volatiles being mostly hydrogen. And then I want to filter those volatiles and oxygen into their respective storage tanks. right? And then I take those storage tanks and I mix them into 2-to-1 volatile to oxygen ratio and feed them to an H2 combustor, which basically blows it up and makes it into steam, super hot steam. The H2 combustor cannot be installed inside my base. I'd bake myself. I would die. This would be a Nazi chamber. I would just die. But we combust that into 2,500 degrees steam, super heated steam, and then we have to cool that water with some sort of coolant back into liquid drinkable form. It's involved. The first task for this is to get at least 2 atmospherics, one for oxygen filtering and one for hydrogen filter or volatile filtering. We'll need another atmospheric kit for the H2 combustor. Then we'll need another filter, so 4 atmospheric kits, because when the H2 combustor combusts, it doesn't just produce steam, it produces a whole lot of waste gas plus steam. We can capture that waste gas and use it as a radiator or a coolant if we want, but it's not going to be a very efficient coolant. But I'm not going to go for efficiency on first pass because I'm going to dehydrate if I try to make a perfect system. Basically, I'm making a very imperfect system to produce water, and then I can improve it over time. But if I'm trying to make it like ideal and perfect on first pass, I'll be dead well before I get it constructed. So this is not like I'm making a perfect water filter system. It's I have 4 bottles left. If I don't do this quickly, I don't do it at all. I end up like this guy, who's dead in a suit. So let's get this started. So what this looks like is I need to get 4 of these atmospheric kits going, which is iron, gold, and copper. And that is not necessarily material I have on hand. Also, you might hear things much more differently now because I'm in a pressurized environment, right? I'm in a base, so there are sounds. And my helmet's up, so, you know, there's a lot more sounds. And we'll need, I'll only be able to print up 2 of these, but we'll need 4 at least. And then on top of that, I'm going to need a phase change device, which is copper, steel, and silicon, and a whole bunch of other stuff as well. Plus the ice crusher too. So we are going to be shopping around for some copper. While I'm standing here, I should get in the habit of taking off my suit so that my hygiene goes back up and my mood goes back up. I don't do a very good job of that, but like I could now that I have a area to live in. So here are the 2 of the 4 atmospherics that I need, and I'm going to need copper for the other ones. The phase change device, I'm going to need more copper, but I have the steel and silicon. Or actually, do I have the silicon? I have the steel and silicon for that already. Good. And then the ice crusher, I can print now. Obviously, I'm going to need a lot more copper. Additionally, for this system, I'm going to want more silicon for insulated pipes. So there's 2 types of pipes. Well, there's kind of 4. There's liquid pipes and gas pipes, insulated liquid pipes, and insulated gas pipes. Insulated pipes, both liquid and gas, don't allow heat exchange between inside and outside. So anything that I build in the base, atmospherics and storage, I don't really care. We can not have them insulated, it's cheaper, and it will normalize with the base's temperature. Which means that the oxygen and volatiles are going to be kept at like room temperature. That's fine. It doesn't really matter, is what I'm trying to say. But once we combust it, that needs to be insulated or done outside in the vacuum, because that heat is a real problem, and I wouldn't be able to manage it. I would like to go outside with light because, like, right now it's too dark for me to work, but I don't think I have the luxury of time here. I might need to just start mining in the dark. Because, running out of water is a big problem. Hey, look, my mood is increasing because I had good hygiene. Alright, helmet down. Suit on. Oxygen tank is fine. Waste tank's a little low, but fine. It's not going to kill me. And out we go. Mining tools fully charged. Perfect. Oh, how about my port? 90%? Oh yeah, I'm fine. Base power is fine. Oh, and we're getting light. Woo! So looking for the green stuff. I see some right there. If you're wondering about what I'm going to do in the future, I have no plans. I'm just building a base that I can survive in. So where this is headed is going to be survival-based only. And again, reminder yet again, no IC code. Not using any lines of IC code. So if you're wondering if I'm going to incorporate IC code into the series, no. The answer is no. I've already answered that. I have it written out and everything. We're IC-less. And if you're wondering what that is, there's a lot of logic in this game. And we'll be getting into logic sooner or later with solar tracking and temperature tracking and grow light calculations and power calculations of like when to turn on station batteries or turn on solid generators, etc. There's a lot of things you can do with logic, and there's two ways to do logic. You have basic logic chips, which are like memory, calculations, comparisons, readers and writers. So if you wanted to track the sun, you could read the angle of the horizontal, the angle of the vertical, do some math, and then write that math to your solar panels so your solar panels track the sun. And then there is a, like, let's call it a shortcut, for lack of a better term, where you can write lines of code in MIPS, which is a coding language, a basic coding language, to then execute those lines of code. So if you're playing this game, you can absolutely just, like, copy and paste written code to solve problems that you have. I'm just not doing that. I'm not going to write my own lines of code, and I'm not going to copy and paste other people's lines of code, because that's not what I'm about. Everything here is intentionally, and this is written up in the details, intentionally jank, makeshift, ad hoc, and self-made solutions. Nothing pre-baked and canned here. Everything is just like, I threw crap at the board. You know, like NASA, you know, trying to fix an air filter with like socks and duct tape. Like that's what I'm about. That's my goal. Socks and duct tape solution. And cardboard. So I figured I might need some extra silicon. I'm going to leave some of the silicon down here so I know it's down here. And let's get this smelted up. I'll probably want some extra gold as well. And I'm certainly going to need a lot of extra iron for the piping, because what I have intended here is going to require a lot of pipes. Yeah, I once copy and pasted some IC script on a farming device, and it ripped my head off. Yep, that happened in a previous series. When code goes wrong, code kills. So yeah, I don't want my head ripped off. Alright, I'll leave some of the gold exposed so I can come back here at a later down. So that should be enough materials to get some atmospherics off the ground. And I'm not going to be using atmospheric tanks. I'm going to be using utility tanks because I don't really need high volume. So there's a bunch of different ways to store liquids and gases in this game. And I'm going to do the lower volume variant because I don't have a big base. I don't have high needs. So I don't need to go big. it would not be in my best interest. So I got my fuel, closing the valves, and firing up the old furnace. Let's do copper first. We'll just have to keep a track on the temperature so it doesn't cool down too much to not be able to handle all the stuff I'm trying to smelt. And we're still above 1,000. Big old chunk of copper. Silicon and gold. It all processed. All right. Bending it out for next use. And time to go inside. Okay, oh, let's turn off the suit. And I'll get in the habit, I don't have a suit rack, I'm not planning on making one just yet. But I'll get in the habit of tearing the suit off for my own hygiene, so I can air out my stank. Alright, so we know we need 2 more atmo at the very least. I'm almost certainly going to need more iron, because at the end of this I'm only going to have 67 grams of iron. That's not going to be enough for the pipe network, I don't think. But we're on our way to making good old-fashioned water at the end of this project. And I think what I'll do is I'll set it up in this corner, because some of it should be outside. The H2 combustor should definitely not be indoors. And then if I need to radiate heat, radiators are going to be outside too. So you got the ice crusher, 4 atmospherics. I'm going to need pipes. I'm going to need a lot of more stuff. And we'll get there when we get there. I'm going to need valves and volume pumps and radiators. So the way this is going to look is we feed the system. Let's feed the system here, where ice goes in. So iron sheet. Cable coils. There's our ice crusher. We stick ice in, and it starts to melt it. Definitely going to need some more cables before too long, so I might as well start making them now. And now that I have an enclosed base, at least the cables won't go, like, flying, and I'll have to go find them. There's only so far they can travel. And I was... At some point, I might run on multiple circuits if I start to exceed the 5 kilowatt threshold. But for now, I'm not going to engineer that. I'm just keeping it nice and simple. Everything on one big network. And I'm going to run a new cable down the spine of the base. Because that's just a nicer way to run things for the future. Alright, 140 grams of copper left, that works. So we have this ice crusher. The ice crusher outputs either liquid or gas. In our case, we really don't have liquid ice on this planet, or moon, I should say, this satellite. So it's going to be gas. And that gas will then... There's two different ways, like series or parallel, for filters. I suppose I will do a... I'll set it up so that I filter all the gas at once. So I'm going to stick my filter here. And in order to build this, I need 2 pipes to build. Ah, look at my mood. Fantastic. All right, next step is cable coil and screwdriver. And that is a filter. So the way these filters work is you input, you gotta power them on, but you input a gas you want filtering here. You stick the filters that you want in here. It can filter 1 or 2 types of gas at once. I'm gonna filter 1 element at a time. The filtered stuff comes out of here. So if I have an oxygen filter here, oxygen will come out of here. And then the unfiltered stuff comes out there. I'm just gonna crank out a whole bunch of pipes because I'm sure I'll use them. And nothing I'm crushing in here is going to produce a lot of heat, and I'm not planning on like igniting the pipe for any reason. So I don't need it insulated, in other words. So all of the gases from the ice crusher comes out and goes into the input, which is also the waste gas. So that... Ooh, all right, let's stop this before it starts exploding. A pipe bloom. Right, we're good. So then the filtered stuff that comes off of this is going to be... I'm going to want to store some of it, and I'm going to want to mix some of it. So I'm going to split this 2 ways. Like that. And I'm going to put a utility kit above to store volumes of it. So this will lead to a mixer for the H2 combustor, and then back this way, I'll have it connect to storage tanks. So I'll do the storage tanks... Actually, I'll do storage tanks like this. I'm going to have 2 storage tanks. Probably more storage than I really need, but it's not that much more expensive. So that is, as you remember, the pipe gas utility. It's these things all over again. And I need, for this setup, 3 of them, because I can just take that piece. Actually, maybe on first pass I'll just do the 1, but have room for expansions. I think that makes more sense. So the oxygen that I filter off of this will go to this tank here, which has some volume. What is the volume of this? It has a capacity of 280 liters of stuff, of gas. And if I want to add to it, I can use that pipe there. All right, the next one is going to be 4 volatiles. Oh, that's an air conditioner. Incorrect. Try that again. Each individual piece can have different versions of it. So The atmospheric can be an air conditioner, a filter, an electrolyzer, H2 combustor, or a nitrolyzer. And in this case, I want filters, and I hadn't selected that specifically. But the one of them is going to be a H2 combustor too. All right, so there is our filter for volatiles. And then the question is, you know what? I'm actually going to change the way this is laid out. I'm going to filter them one at a time so that I don't have to come up with an exhaust system. So basically, all gas goes through the oxygen filter, and then if it's not oxygen, it goes into the volatile filter. The input of the volatile filter, so the unfiltered stuff goes into the volatile filter, and if it's not volatiles, it will get exhausted out. Well, then I'll use it as a coolant, I guess. It's a little less efficient on the filters, but it's a little easier on the brain. Okay, 2 more utility kits. So if it passes through these 2 filters, it is not oxygen and it is not volatiles. So it is pollutant, nitrogen, carbon dioxide, etc., etc. Okay, looks pretty similar. At some point, I might bother to color code them, but that's not necessary initially. So then we're going to want a oxygen filter. And I can use the oxygen in the oxygen tanks for multiple uses. I can combust it into water, or I could breathe it. So that's important to note. And then the other one is going to be a vol filter to filter out volatiles on the second tank. And they'll need to be wired up and all that jazz too. There's the volatile filter. So then after that, the rest of this gas is going to be coolant. Ooh. I think what I want to do is to have this, because it's just going to be like waste gas. It's going to be a big old mix. I'm going to want insulated tanks for that. Or insulated pipes, rather. Which is steel and silicon, not iron. So they're considerably more expensive. But that way, they are not they're not being affected by they're not changing the temperature of the room, because the gas in this network here is potentially very hot or very cold depending on the phase of my my water filtrating. Okay. Actually, it won't be hot. Well, no, because it's still coolant. So then we're going to want, like, maybe a larger tank for coolant. Because that's going to have a lot, potentially a lot of volume. But I'll probably want an insulated tank so that I can control the temperature. So let's grab copper from our e-printer. And then I'm also going to want, like, frames to put out there as well. So here's a... No, that's insulated. Tank. insulated tank. And I don't have any frames, so I'm going to need to make some. Alright, so this insulated tank is going to be installed outside. Let's go ahead and finish some of the interior design now. So some things that will be useful is... This is pure oxygen coming off this line, and I'm going to have this split. Actually, go up one and then split. I don't want to block any of the interaction panels or anything like that. So this is splitting so that I can use the oxygen to also fill my own breathing tanks. So this part of the oxygen can come out and fill ox tanks like this, and then the other one goes to a gas mixer to feed to the H2 combustor. So when it comes to filling my own tanks, I'm going to do a pressure regulator so I can control how much oxygen goes into my breathing tanks, so it's not just like leftover oxygen or whatever. And a pressure regulator, it has to be powered. So I'm going to have it float, because I have a high ceiling, so it doesn't really matter. And it should go left to right. Oh, that's facing backwards. And this is going to allow me to fill up my oxygen supply better. I want the cable on the top, though. Oh my god. No! Oh, okay. You're killing me now. Pressure regulator. The valve. Here, I'll do it like this. This will make it a little bit easier. I'll actually give it the curve so it attaches to that point. Oh, you know what? It might not have a... Yeah, it might not have a... It might want to go the other way. That's fine. I'll have it go the other way. I'm like fighting the design of the game. I could use back pressure regulator, but it really doesn't matter in this instance. There you go. Pressure regulator. And then after the pressure regulator, take one of these tank fills. Come on. Let's do a pipe. And then a tank fill. So this is where I get my oxygen from, coming off of the oxygen filter. Perfect. This tank here has like mystery gas in it, so I'm not going to bother filling that. I'm going to empty it outside. Thank you for tuning in to Stationeers, which originally streamed live on Twitch as a marathon, one time only. If you have any questions for me, let me know in the comments below. I am not, however, looking for feedback. I asked for no backseating for this series, and also, because this streamed one time only, feedback wouldn't be able to be incorporated anyway. If you would like to catch a live stream of mine, Rhodomont.com has my stream schedule and countdown timers to upcoming streams. If you'd like to join my online gaming community on Discord, Rhodomont.com also has a link to it, as does the description of this video. Thank you so very much for watching. Special thank you to my Patreon patrons, Twitch subscribers, and viewers like you that made it all the way to the credits. So thank you so very much. I hope to catch you next episode or an upcoming stream. Farewell, my fellow Stationeers.